if I remember correctly, the last show that you've done was in December.
Yeah, we filmed it in... I think we filmed it in November. It was the Jordan Brown 10 Days of Christmas. So we filmed that in November, and then we haven't done anything in a while since then, you know?
Yeah. Well, what else have you been up to then?
We've been... Some of the people from my team... It's like a big transition stage, which like some people like on our team will make fun of. But like for us, we've been doing so many different things, specifically in two areas. We've been working on 2 projects that I can't really go into detail at this time because they're going to be launched in 2013. But these projects are really, like, I'm really excited about them. I've been working with Jesse Williams and some other people that are involved with Jordan Brown Radio Team, Danny Miami, who you'll know, or they know as Danny Miami, and Daniel Botana and those people. So, same people. But just the same people we've always worked with, and we've been working on projects. So that's been taking a lot of the focus away from the actual show, which I know a lot of people aren't happy about, but it's just something that we've been doing, you know. So
you don't think you owe, you know, your listeners something, some teaser?
No,
something?
I will tell them this, because I was even looking. Me and my team, I'm like plugging this for this guy. Me and my team have been reading this. Start Something That Matters. It's the guy who created Tom's. This book single-handedly from the area of business has changed kind of my perspective on things. And my whole team have been reading this very diligently, which is a word I don't really use a lot. But this is what we've been doing. And so this is a book that I suggest anybody should read because it's amazing and it really will open your perspective up on things. So I do owe them an explanation, like the listeners, but it will come soon enough. Like I'm in a big, like I said, even in my life, I'm in a transition stage. It will come in time, due time. I can promise that we'll have something back and we'll be launching it. The Jordan Brown brand will be out there soon, so just patience.
All right, well,
yeah.
Hopefully you'll deliver.
I will. Come on, always deliver.
All right. Well, okay. So let me ask you this. I know it's a change of subject, but as far as the elections go, where do you stand? How do you see everything?
It's funny because with politics, and me and you have even had this conversation in the past, but with politics, I can tell you that people close to me, like the producer, Jordan Brown Show, Danny Miami, he never even hears me talk about that. Like, I don't talk about politics as much as I used to.
Yeah.
When I was in Long Beach, I used to do it all the time. You know, even in the beginning of the show, when we would talk, I would have open conversations about that. I mean, the first time you were ever on the show, even.
There was a whole section.
Yeah, a segment on it, right? And I will say this, and this is honest truth, I have not paid attention to anything politics. Like, I'm hearing all this stuff, and, like, honestly, Yahoo Newsfeed, that's about it. But I will say this, that the one thing that's really frustrating for me is seeing people from either side of the spectrum. So left, right, Democrat, liberals, Republicans, conservatives, they're all essentially doing the same exact thing. So in 2008, when President Bush was on his way out of office, I remember the Democrats were saying, look what President Bush did with the gas prices. The gas prices are so high. And Republicans were like, the Democrats are so rude. These people are terrible people. And the other day on Facebook, which is terrible. I don't think anyone should ever have one. But it's there and it can socialize, and there's different opinions on that. But I was looking at somebody's thing, and an openly Republican that I know put up a picture of President Obama and gas prices and saying, hey, you asked for change and the gas prices are higher, so that's the change he gave you. And I'm like, it's the same thing that the Republicans were making fun of the Democrats about, the Republicans are now doing. So, like, again, when people were like, push Bush out of office. Like, today, people are having bumper stickers that say, no Obama, or get out of here, President Obama. And it's just a whole thing. So I'm just saying to people that please be consistent. Like, if you really want to be these people who, Republicans, if you want to be people who are always against Democrats in the area of, like, bashing their own, like, candidates, like, bashing the other team's candidates, then they can't do the same thing either, So the only thing I also want to say on that, because I know I'm going on a tangent, but I do want to say that it's disrespectful to call President Obama Obama. And I think that's the worst thing that I hear from people. Like, it makes my ears bleed when I hear people say that. I hate it. And, I just can't stand it. And if people want to know, the only thing I will say, because it was 4 years ago, is I didn't vote for President Obama. And at the time, I was a Republican, and I switched to independent because I don't feel like associating with one party makes any sense. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But that's our president, and he should not be called Obama. I put something out on Facebook and Twitter for the first time in a while, and people put up, like, oh, get Obama out of office. And I'm like, that's not his name. His name's President Obama for the rest of your life.
Well, since we're bringing it down to earth, is there anything that you want to comment on or anything you have laying on your heart?
Not, it's funny because when we were sitting down to do this, not saying something in a long time, like being off, like for me, like people are like, oh, what is the big deal? Like if you live with me or you're friends with me, like there'll be times where I'll just go on I'm just going for it. Like, this is ridiculous. This, and everyone's like, dude, what the heck is going on with you? Like, we've seen it. But one thing I've noticed that is big for people to put their minds around is this idea of loyalty. And I'm specifically talking about all over. I think people are confused about loyalty. And what I mean by that is that we have people today, such as Peyton Manning, right? He was the Colts quarterback, and he was the face of the franchise. And he got injured this year, and he didn't play at all. And at the end of the year, the Colts had an opportunity, or will still have an opportunity, to draft Andrew Luck, who's one of the top quarterbacks in college football. So do you go with your loyal fan favorite, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, in Peyton Manning? Or do you go with this new guy, Luck? Like, on paper, in the movie, you want the Colts management to be like, we're going with Peyton Manning. Like, this is our guy. Like, he's the one who led us to where we are. We built a new stadium. The house that Peyton built. Like, this is it. And what do? They cut Peyton Manning. Like, everyone's like, no. Like, how could they do that? This is crazy. You look at LeBron James, who 2 years ago in the offseason, a guy who was, raised in Akron, which is 45 minutes away from Cleveland. A guy who went to high school in Akron, again, 45 minutes away from Cleveland. A guy who was drafted to the Cleveland Cavaliers. His whole family, his friends could see him play. And when his free agency, everyone's like, oh, he's going to come back to Cleveland. And there was seriously people crying when he said he's going to Miami. Like, no, how could he go to Miami? He's from Cleveland. You know what I mean? Like loyalty. Again, like just a couple days ago, Dwight Howard. We're here in Orlando, so we can talk about Dwight Howard because it's all we've been seeing. Guy was a free agent at the end of this year. So in the beginning of the year, he said, I want to trade to be out of here because I don't want to be here anymore. And so he has a press conference 2 days ago, which I'm sitting at home watching, and I even put it on Twitter, like, am I really watching this? Where he announces that, and his quote was, I'm a loyal person. So when you hear someone say it, you think, wow, he's probably going to sign a contract for 5 more years. He signed it for 1 more year. So it's like,
you're loyal, but it's...
Yeah, like, are you kidding me? Like, it's a joke. Like, if you're loyal to something, you would have said, I'll be here, I'll sign a 10-year contract right now, not a 1-year contract. Like, it was seriously the owner and, like, the GM and him, and Dwight Howard looks so uneasy because I don't think he wants to be in Orlando, but he wants to try to be loyal. But that's not even loyal. That's just another year until we do it all again. And it's constant. I grew up in a Dodger household, and I grew up hearing stories about Jackie Robinson, who was a Dodger and was drafted a Dodger and played, obviously, the first black player to play in baseball. And he was traded towards the end of his career to the Giants, who were the Dodgers' biggest rival. And he said no, and he retired. Like, that's loyalty. Like, that's loyalty. Like, a guy said, I don't want to play baseball if I'm not in a Dodger uniform. That's loyalty. Same thing with Sandy Koufax, a guy who verbally committed to a contract with the Dodgers, and then the Yankees offered him a piece of paper contract saying, we'll give you double what they're paying you, and something like double, or it was a significant more. And he said, I couldn't do it because he had a verbal commitment with the Dodgers. Like, that's loyalty. We won't see that today. But is that a bad thing? Like, I'm from Seal Beach. I turned down schools in LA to come to Orlando to Full Sail. Like, everyone's like, whoa, where's the loyalty? You're a Dodger fan? Like, your family's here? It's like, I have to do what I have to do for myself. So, like, in this whole turn of things, when we hear all these people talking, like, there's no loyalty. Of course, it's a business. Like, these sporting things are businesses, but isn't life a business too? Are we mad at someone for taking the best opportunity somewhere else? For me, even a couple days ago, like, Derek Fisher was traded from the Lakers. This guy won 5 championships with the Lakers. And, like, the GM of the Lakers said, like, we traded for somebody else, and to break the pressure of this new point guard, we didn't want Derek Fisher to be there. It's like, he's like one of your core group of guys. He's Derek Fisher. But no, he had to leave because it's a business. And for them, at the end of the day, they're going to look out for number one. If we haven't seen it now, then people have to wake up. So for me, it hurts me to be like, hey, there's 2 forms of loyalty. There's loyalty for an individual. Like Dwight Howard, I know you're loyal to Orlando, but you don't want to be here. So go away. And go get your money somewhere else and go be a basketball player somewhere else. You're confused. Like, I felt bad for the guy. You have Peyton Manning, who just totally got screwed over. Like, they were like, you're out of here. But it was like a respectful breakup. I don't know. It's just, for me, you have to do what's best for you as an individual. And sometimes it's going to hurt people, but loyalty at the end of the day comes down to yourself and your family. Like, I really believe that. Like, you can't...
But of course, I mean, for the time being, you're going to be loyal to the show and your fans.
Yeah.
Maybe more consistent.
It's funny because when we met with me and my team sat down with Radio Disney a couple months ago, and it was a great meeting. And they were super encouraged by what we were doing, and they were like, oh, you know, like, I mean, the stuff they were saying, like, I remember even at one point, just like reinventing radio for what we were doing. It was great to see all that stuff. And then we just stopped. And I realized, like, wow, like, there was people who called me, like, hey, where's the next show? And I didn't realize, like, wow, we really have people who are interested in being a part of something. But I can promise that in 2013, these projects that we're working on is going to blow people's minds. Like, we're like, on Twitter when I put, we're going to change the world, like, I'm not just saying that. Like, it's crazy. Like, but to my followers and people who do follow me, it's only going to get better. And I'm just getting started. It's crazy because we've been doing this for a while, and I'm super excited about it, so don't worry.